everyone, it's Destiny, and today we are going to be going over all of the upcoming version 3.7 banners, what each of these characters do, and which character I would recommend pulling the most. Before we get into today's video, I'd love to know which character you're excited for in version 3.7, or if you're even waiting until 3.8 and beyond. Lastly, if you enjoy videos like these, consider subscribing to see more content from me, leave a like to support the video, and now let's get straight into it. Let's begin with Cyrene, as she will be available for the full duration of version 3.7, while the reruns will change during the first half and second half of the patch. Cyrene is an Ice Remembrance character who provides unique buffs to each of the Chrysos Heirs. She has a unique ultimate featuring a points mechanic and has some team-wide buffs as well. Cyrene's team-wide buffs would consist of increasing the damage dealt by all allies by being on the field, and her skills zone will allow the entire team to deal true damage onto enemies. As for Cyrene's ultimate, her point mechanic is referred to as Recollection, which she is able to get points of recollection through her own abilities as well as ally and ally memo sprite action. Her ultimate will need 24 points of recollection in order to be used initially, and after her initial ultimate, she'll need 12 points of recollection to use her ultimate once again. When using Cyrene's ultimate for the first time, she'll grant everyone their ultimate, and Cyrene's ultimate will also allow you to take advantage of her memo sprite abilities, which you can either deal an AoE attack onto enemies or provide a buff for one ally. If the ally is a Chrysos Heir, they'll receive a special buff, but if the ally is not an heir, then they'll receive a damage boost instead. This unique buff for each Chrysos Heir provides different benefits depending on which heir you use the buff on, which you can reapply buffs or even apply the special effect to other heirs on the team as well when you use Cyrene's ultimate again, which now only requires 12 points of recollection instead of 24, and this makes it easier to use her ultimate after the first time. Some things to consider regarding Cyrene is that her value will primarily depend on which Chrysos Heirs you have, as well as if you have Chrysos Heirs on your account to begin with, as the special effects she grants from using her ultimate is a major portion of her kit. Some teams will be able to charge her ultimate faster than other teams, for example, the Castorice team. The Castorice team will feature numerous remembrance characters, and as to why this is beneficial for Cyrene's ultimate, memo sprites can assist with getting points of recollection. Hyacine will be a very useful character for getting points of recollection for Cyrene, as she'll be able to take frequent turns with Little Ika. And then, of course, the other characters on the team will be able to nicely assist with getting points of recollection for Cyrene too. Everknight's memo sprite attacks often as well, for example, and then Castorice can summon Netherwing frequently depending on your team. In the case of a Castorice team, Cyrene is worthwhile, especially in the scenario of wanting to put your Tribbie onto another team. Cyrene's special effect for Castorice will allow Castorice to overflow New Bud up to 200%, and this will result in increasing the damage multiplier of the damage dealt by Netherwing's attack, Wing Sweep the Ruin. And this will also be effective for the entire battle once you use Cyrene's unique buff on Castorice, which you can use once you have Cyrene's ultimate. From there, you can also provide Cyrene's buffs to other Chrysos Heirs on the team as well when you use Cyrene's ultimate again throughout the battle. As for the other Chrysos Heirs, this will come down to which Chrysos Heir you are using, as it can feel like in some cases that the current premium team for that heir is perfectly fine to continue using. For example, let's say you had a premium Aglaia team featuring Aglaia, Sunday, Robin, or Tribbie, and Huahua, and are clearing content without many issues. Then your need for Cyrene at the moment can definitely be lower. In the scenario of not having too many supports though, and let's say you wanted to put Tribbie or even Sunday on another team, then Cyrene can assist with this. Overall though, I would definitely say that one of the stronger synergies, especially when it comes to getting enough points of recollection for Cyrene in a timely manner, would be the Castorice team, or even if you are using a character like Everknight, as they do share a lot of the same team members. And speaking of the Castorice team, many characters from her team are rerunning in the first half of version 3.7, including herself, as the reruns will be Castorice, Tribbie, and lastly Hyacine for the first half. As for what each of these characters provide, Castorice is a quantum remembrance character that is HP scaling. She does not consume any skill points and has a new bud charge mechanic that will allow her to summon her memo sprite Netherwing. And this charge mechanic is based on allies losing or gaining HP. Nethering will be able to deal massive amounts of damage onto enemies, and depending on what team you use for Castorice, she'll be able to summon Netherwing frequently, which will allow her to dish out a bunch of damage onto enemies. She currently performs very well in all endgame modes and is considered one of the best damage dealers in Honkai Star Rail at the moment. As for Tribbie, she is a Quantum Harmony character that is a universal support who is able to provide ult-type res pen for a team as well as inflict vulnerability onto enemies through her ultimate zone. She can unleash frequent follow-up attacks onto enemies. She is a great holder of the Dance 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 light cone to provide action advance for the team, and her first Eidolon is one of the best first Eidolons in the game, as Tribbie's additional damage dealt from her zone will now also deal true damage as well, based on how much damage you deal to all enemies. For a simple example, accounting for her E1, let's say each enemy took 50,000 damage. The enemy with the highest HP will now also receive an additional 60,000 damage. This is very powerful for a team to be able to deal more damage, and is very nice for AoE attackers to now have stronger damage output for single targets, and of course this also works nicely for single target damage dealers as well. The ult-type res pen buff from Tribbie's skill and the vulnerability debuff from Tribbie's zone allows Tribbie to be a very universal support for teams, as these buffs can apply to majority if not every team. You can put Tribbie with an HP scaling damage dealer, an attack scaling damage dealer, damage over time, and so on. And as for Hyacine, she is one of the best sustains in Honkai Star Rail, who can also deal a very nice amount of damage for being a sustaining character. Hyacine is a Wind Remembrance character who can provide frequent healing for the team, cleansing for the team. Little Ika can deal frequent damage onto enemies, and Hyacine's ultimate will activate the After Rain state, which will increase the max HP of all allies. This is a great additional benefit for HP scaling damage dealers you may pair her with. Hyacine also has a very powerful signature light cone that improves her synergy even further with certain teams. Her signature light cone grants her 18% speed, allows Little Ika to apply an 18% vulnerability debuff onto enemies, and this light cone also adds a team-wide HP drain to each of Hyacine's actions, allowing her to provide stronger synergy to teams and also improving her and Little Ika's performance. Hyacine does very well in every endgame mode and can be used on numerous teams as a powerful sustain option who provides frequent healing as well as frequent attack. In the scenario of those who have Castorice and are wondering between picking up Cyrene or Hyacine, I would recommend Hyacine as the priority character, as she works excellent with Castorice as well as other characters, and even in the case of what Hyacine herself provides for Cyrene, she'll be very useful for getting more points of recollection to assist with charging Cyrene's ultimate. So I would say ultimately in that scenario, I would recommend prioritizing Hyacine. As for the second half of version 3.7, we will have Cipher, Phainon, and Mydei. Phainon is a physical destruction character who revolves around his Core Flame mechanic, which after reaching enough points of Core Flame, he'll be able to transform into part allies, essentially fighting solo. He'll be able to retain the buffs from allies as well, so he'll be able to deal massive damage onto enemies during his transformation. When Phainon transforms, he'll now take advantage of points of Scourge for his enhanced skill, and he can also gain points of Scourge through his enhanced basic attack and his enhanced skill counter attack. Phainon nicely takes advantage of the sustainless playstyle, and now with the new Dan Heng, you can also consider using him alongside Phainon as well, if you did want to use a sustain. Some of Phainon's best partners consist of Cyrene, as Cyrene can allow Phainon to duplicate his skill, which allows you to take advantage of double meteors during his enhanced state. Sunday can provide Phainon crit rate, crit damage, damage boost, advance forward, and assist with generating more Core Flame for Phainon. Bronya can provide numerous buffs for Phainon, as well as advance him forward for even more Core Flame generation. Remembrance Trailblazer can advance forward Phainon and allow him to take advantage of a true damage buff from M support, nicely increasing his damage output. Plus, Remembrance Trailblazer is free, being a great budget-friendly support option. King Yun can assist with providing Phainon more Core Flame and buffs, as well as being a nice budget option if you don't have too many support. You can also consider using Tribbie, Rame, Cipher, and so on. Now, when it comes to Mydei, he is an imaginary destruction character who is HP scaling and takes advantage of HP manipulation and has a charge mechanic. Once Mydei has 100 points of charge and enters the Vendetta state, He'll automatically unleash his attacks Kingslayer be King, and with 150 points of charge, he'll unleash Godslayer be God. Mydei gains points of charge by losing HP, which his abilities allow him to consume his own HP, and his ultimate will assist with regenerating him HP as well as gaining him charge. Some of Mydei's best partners consist of Sunday, Tribbie, you can consider Sparkle, Remember Trailblazer, Gallagher, Lawilcha, and so on. A fun dual DPS team can be Mydei and Castorice as well. When it comes to Cipher, she's a quantum nihility character who is able to record a percentage of the damage dealt by allies onto enemies, which then she can use her ultimate to deal true damage onto enemies based on the damage she recorded. It is worth noting though that she won't record the overflow damage dealt onto enemies. Cipher also has follow-up attacks in her kit, making her a very frequent attacker, especially with how she'll want to be at a higher speed. And Cipher also inflicts a 40% vulnerability debuff onto enemies just by being on the field, effectively increasing the damage output of all allies on the team. Cipher can work on numerous teams, and when it comes to the older damage dealers we have, she is a great pair for Phainon or Acheron. Now when it comes to all of the banners, I would say the priorities to consider pulling would be Hyacine and Tribbie. Supports typically have a longer longevity in comparison to damage dealers, especially when considering a rerun. You can also consider a DPS's E2. That can be a consideration for highly improving their potential, for example, Castorice E2 or Phainon E2. But I would say if you are more of a free-to-play player or a budget player who isn't able to pull everything, then I would lean more toward Hyacine and Tribbie, as these two characters can be used on numerous teams, provide excellent buffs for accounts, and as mentioned earlier, if you are considering Cyrene and don't have Hyacine, I would recommend Hyacine first. I'd love to know if you are pulling on any of the version 3.7 banners, and if you are, good luck on all of your pulls. I hope you all did enjoy today's video, and feel free to give your own recommendations in the comments down below as to who you would recommend pulling. Lastly, consider subscribing to see more Star Rail content from me, leave a like to support today's video, and I hope to see you all next time. Peace.